So we are back in Tin Can for another hardcore survival run. As today it basically has been exactly 2 months, I think, since I did my last hardcore survival run in Tin Can. So I don't expect this is going to go well. I have looked at the game since, so I have gone in and looked at some of the changes that they've made, but I haven't actually tried doing a hardcore survival run with all of the new changes. So basically that includes the storage update that has been implemented. I believe that the leaks and fire would now be in as well. And by the way, they have also updated, you'll see with the storage, you now have a complete battery drawer and you also get some spare parts at the beginning. So we can have a quick look here what we've got. So it's basically one extra battery. We have a buzzer, that's not going to be particularly useful. This is a high capacity fuse, that is going to be useful. And but yeah, it's really good to see that the developers have. In my previous video that I made about Tin Can, I spoke about the fact that the ratios were a little bit weird, but now that they have the battery drawer, I think that's really good. I'm just gonna switch off some non-essential systems here and start collecting batteries because I really don't want batteries to get damaged in systems for no reason. And this, okay, so that's our first hit. But basically, yeah, I don't wanna waste batteries unnecessarily. So I'll keep most of them in here and then I'll swap them into systems if I need it. So that's a leak. And, oh, here we go. Okay, so that's where you get the leak filler. This is the first time that I'm actually plugging a leak. Okay, so that's relatively easy, and there is a bit of an audio cue. That's one of the things I was wondering about before they implemented this, if they would give you some audio cue, because that would make it really difficult otherwise. This is... Oh, this is really strange. So I guess that system's on fire, but we've got another leak. So we'll fill this leak, and then we'll take care of the fire. This does seem like it's going to be significantly more challenging than it used to be. I'm also not 100% sure what the other effects are of using the extinguisher, so I haven't really looked into any of that. So if you guys have been playing this and you have any tips, please feel free to let me know in the comments. As I said, it's really been a while now, so I think it's going to take some getting used to. The reason I haven't been playing this so much is, so first of all, I wanted to wait for the major updates to come out, and I believe that the workbench is still coming. So that's the other big update that's pending. So I don't want to play it too much because I don't want to get sort of burnt out on the game or get bored of playing it, because I do want to cover every major update that's coming. So I will probably be occasionally doing runs like this. And then of course I've just been playing other stuff as well. So if you look at some of my recent reviews, I did play In Other Waters, which was pretty cool, and because I played that, I then wanted to go back and play Subnautica again, which I did, and then because I basically wanted more Subnautica, I also played Subnautica Below Zero, which I quite enjoyed. I didn't have particularly high expectations for it, and I know that it's had positive reviews, but I also know that some people felt that the new Subnautica Below Zero is a bit of a departure from the old one, which is true. It's a different game, and definitely you need to go in with that expectation, but I still really enjoyed it. So I have posted reviews on both Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero. The other game that released while I was, or well, basically in this period, is Breath Edge, which I bought in early access. And that's meant to be, or I think at the time a lot of people sort of said that it would be Subnautica in space. I'm not going to be doing a review on that. I'm not going to be playing it much. I'm not crazy about it. It's a good game. I guess like it's really well developed. It's not like there are bugs or anything, but it's got this really sort of pervasive, or I don't know what the right word is, like relentless slapstick sense of humor, and it gets into the gameplay elements and all of that, and it's just not really for me. I mean, I think some people will enjoy it, but yeah, unfortunately, because I'm not going to be playing it anymore, it wouldn't make much sense for me to post a review. I've got to say, so far, this is significantly more challenging than what I'm used to playing in Tin Can. I haven't played it in a while, and I'm sure that is having some impact here, but it's also just Yeah, I think all of these updates has definitely made the game more challenging. It's definitely going to make it harder to get long survival runs in here because we've already had to deal with fire, we've had to deal with leaks, and I'm not sure at the moment how many of these systems are actually broken. So let's just have a look here. And okay, so we've got a bad fuse and a bad processor in this one, which is, well, we've got a spare high capacity fuse, so we should be able to take care of this. That's the wrong drawer, so we can just swap this one out since we have one. It's not, if the fuse is damaged, it's not the end of the world. You can still continue using it. If it's completely broken, then you've got a problem, and then of course if you have any surges or anything, that'll damage the rest of the system, or at least I think that's still how it works. But we'll just keep this one in here for now. I'm definitely having some trouble getting back into this, especially with all of the new updates. This is on hardcore mode, this is a hard game to play. But I just need to switch off all of the systems. So if you have seen the electric storm before, you'll know that any system that is connected and switched on will be fried. So basically what I'm just going to do here is switch everything off. If I need to use something, I'll disconnect it and I'll use a battery. And luckily we have tons of spare batteries, so that should be reasonably easy to manage this one. I'm not gonna switch the temperature management system back on because, well, we can wait until that becomes a problem. So we'll see once it starts getting really cold if we actually need that. So we already had a battery in the CO2 system. Now I was thinking I would just manually vent oxygen, but I think we've got enough batteries that we don't really need to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually use the oxygen system. We've got some fire there as well. So let's just take care of the oxygen first. So now we can run this without risking it doing anything. And let's just have a look here. If we get into fire extinguisher, we can take care of that fire. It's definitely, I think that playing in the relay station is a bit more challenging because you just, you have more distance to cover. I don't know if there are any advantages other than when the multiplayer comes. This is interesting. So I've not seen this before. If the gravity is switched on, you use the extinguisher that actually blows you around. So you can use that as a method to get around. Although it's probably easier to just do it like this. All right, so oxygen should be okay now. And I think then we are probably going to be okay, at least for the time being. Let's just have a look here. So we might just need to wait this out a bit. I'm going to edit this out after the recording because I don't want the video to get boring. So I might just get back when we finished going through, just waiting out the electric event. Okay, so I think that is the last of it. We didn't actually need to use the temperature management system at all. It is getting a bit cold in the pod, but that's why you don't necessarily need a battery in there because very often you can make it all the way through these events without even using the temperature management system. So we'll just get the generator back on and we'll get the gravity back on. That's just going to make it easier to move around. And then I guess if we can get the lights back on and get the temperature sorted out because it will become an issue eventually. Not that when the main generator is on, it should be generating heat anyway, but this could help get it back up to the right level faster. Yeah, so it doesn't look like this one wasn't too bad. I don't think we got any systems fried, and I'm pretty sure the main lights were off already. I think that was one of the first things that broke during the initial asteroid field that we went through. So yeah, let's just can maybe store this And so we don't have the pressure management system working. But first I want to stop wasting the batteries, and we'll just get this back onto the main power now that it's back on. I'll just do the same thing for carbon dioxide scrubber. And maybe I can swap out the battery that still has some power in it, because this is the only system right now, the carbon dioxide scrubber, that I continuously keep a battery in, because there's just never really any circumstances under which you don't want that system to be working. So we can just keep this in here. We probably will never use it again. There's plenty of spare batteries. And I think in this run, we're more likely to get killed by something else than the battery power running out. That hasn't happened to me, I think, in the last couple of runs, but it's just because I've stopped keeping batteries in all of the systems, because you end up wasting them on stuff that you don't really need them for, and they also get damaged. I'm not sure if this is still the case, but I'm reasonably certain that something can only get damaged if it is installed in a system. So if you take something out and you store it somewhere else, you should be okay in terms of it not getting damaged. The asteroid storms are, or asteroid fields are really bad. It gives you a lot of broken systems to deal with. I feel like this is, even though it's one of the original events, it's still one of the toughest ones to deal with. Yeah, let's just have a look. I want to see if I actually want to get the main lights back on. I don't know. It seems like the lighting is different than it used to be. I don't know if it's because of sort of the fires that I've had, if that's changing something, but I actually just prefer having the original lighting. We can see if we can do something about that. This one's got a bad fuse. Now the question is, how badly damaged is that? Okay, this is not good. So I've just lost several components here. And I'm pretty sure I looked and we didn't have any spare fuses, so that wouldn't be in here. No. So I may need to get a fuse from a different system. Now, depending on what broke exactly within the main lights, it's possible that this fuse could still be working. Let's just have a look. If this is going to solve anything, doesn't look like it. No. Okay, so clearly this fuse was already broken, and we may just need to make do with the one that we had. So you don't actually need fuses in systems, but of course if you run them with bad fuses or completely broken fuses, then you are risking damaging other components in the system. Again, we've got another fire, so I'll just try to take care of this. Did I just damage this using the fire extinguisher, or was it the fire that was causing damage to that component? It looked like I was damaging the actual CRT monitor because I used the fire extinguisher on it, but that'll be a bit hard to deal with because there's not really much you can do. You have to put out the fires. Again, if you have experimented with that a bit, I might do a separate video where I just experiment with the fire extinguisher and I spray it onto components to see if that causes damage. I think it's more likely that it was a timing thing in this case. So yeah, what's going on with this? So bad monitor and bad power transformer. The monitor doesn't really matter, and you can run that system while having a bad power transformer. It's just, of course, if the power transformer fails, then you don't have any power throughout the ship. But clearly that one, the monitor is gone, and okay, we have another leak. So I'm guessing in the smaller pod also easier to deal with the leaks, because if you're in the big one, you don't actually, I didn't hear that one. I assume it's been there for a little while. I want to see if I can switch over to the main light. So what I'm going to try and do is just, okay, so it's not just the fuse. We should just swap over all of the components, because it could be the power connector, it could be the power transformer as well. So I'm just going to swap these around, and we'll use the main lights instead. There's no logical reason for doing this other than I just find it easier, especially now with the instrumentation, to read it using the main lights. So I basically mean the control panel that shows you everything that's going on in this ship. So air pressure stabilizer is offline, repair station's offline, but that's because I switched it off. And let's just see. Everything looks okay. O2 is a bit high. It should be at about 20%, but that might actually work to our advantage in this case. Okay, so this is the event that's going to spike the temperature. Now again, it's been a while since I actually dealt with this. What you need to do is turn off the main generator, because that, of course, generates heat. And we can keep an eye on this just to see, because I know it usually takes a little while for these events to start. It doesn't look like the temperature has really started increasing yet, but it should pretty soon. As soon as it does, we need to get that main generator offline. And right now, it still seems okay. I just don't want to turn it off for any longer than I need to, because of course that affects everything else. But I think we should go ahead and get rid of this now. And then we just need to keep an eye on the oxygen and the CO2. So CO2 is fine, because we already had a battery in there. Oxygen, we're at about 30%, so we should be able to wait that out a bit before we actually start either manually venting or switching on that system again. But let's just have a look here. Wow, okay, that went up really fast. This is going to be an issue. What we need is, we actually need the temperature management system, because I don't think in this case just having the main generator switched off gets us there. I think this might end up being the thing that kills me, because I don't know. I remember when you're dealing with this event, if you don't get out ahead of it fast enough, even if you have the main generator switched off, even if you have this system functional, it may not be enough fast enough. And I just have to hope everything in this system's working the way it is. It's going to keep complaining, so I'm just going to take the buzzer out, because I assume this is going to be my biggest problem for the foreseeable future. Wow, okay. This is getting... I can't remember exactly where you die from this, but I think we are pretty close to that point. And there's not much to do other than hope we can get through this. Yeah. Also don't know if this would be causing fires now. It seems there's a lot of different events that could potentially, because the electric event caused fires, so did the asteroids. And I guess it's possible, it would make sense if this one could do that as well. But yeah, this is not good. And that's it. Wow, that was a lot tougher. I knew that this was going to be hard, but it's definitely tough to play with all of the events there. Although I should have sorted out the temperature management sooner and just checked that everything in that system was working. But yeah, was good to try out Tin Can again. As always, if you like this kind of content, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next video.